get started because Robin has a lot of good stuff to tell us. We welcome Robin Smart back again from the Alzheimer Society, and this is her third debut with the University of Guelph, back by popular demand. The other two sessions, if you've missed them, are on video for, is it a month, Heather? Yeah, they're going to be on YouTube, available for a month, and this one will be put on in about a week or so. So you just go to the Occupational Health website and the links are there. So we welcome Robin back, and we're going to be talking about communication.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for the invitation to come back. I was thinking about communication in the shower this morning because I don't have a good communication joke to open with. I used to put jokes in my talks, but not in this one. This one's all business for you. But I was thinking how we don't often think about communication. We don't focus on it a lot unless we've been given some sort of assignment where we're teaching or we have to do something written that requires our focus. And we can easily miscommunicate. I know myself that I think I'm pretty clear. And my husband, nah, he doesn't get it. And my daughter, whoa, she doesn't get it. And vice versa. Sometimes they tell me stuff and I don't get their intent or I don't get the communication. And unfortunately, when somebody has any form of dementia, there's even more so of a chance that communication can be derailed. So what I'm going to cover today is a little bit about dementia and communication, some of which will help you if you are working in either the field where you're connecting with people that have dementia, or if there's something in your personal life where you're connected to somebody that has a dementia. But some of it might just help you every day anyway. So I'm pretty sure you'll walk out with something. What I'm going to do at the very end is suggest that if for any reason you did want more information or more connectedness to the Alzheimer Society, I only have a few, but I brought a couple of our newsletters with us, and I brought a sign-up sheet. So if anybody would like our free newsletter, the price is right, it's free, and it comes out 4 times a year, and we email it to you. You can sign up, and that tells you new information, but it also tells you all the education and events that are going on that might be of interest to you. So at the end, if for any reason you'd like to hook up with us, I've got the pad ready to go there for you. So without further ado, let's get underway. So what is communication? And we think, oh, we know what communication is. We think, that's automatic. Why would we even ask a question like that? But there's 2 parts. It's a two-way street. Obviously, we have to be able to send communications, and we have to be able to receive communications. And what happens is when somebody has dementia, there are a lot of areas of the brain that are involved in communication, and all of those areas eventually get damaged. But they're not all damaged at once. So the process of communication is diminished over time as the process of dementia goes on, because we all know it's a progressive disease. Sometimes slowly progressive, sometimes a little more rapidly, but on average about 8 to 10 years after diagnosis before somebody leaves us. Oh, it would like to do something different. Shall I just okay this? Let's X this out. Oops, that was interesting. So on the screen, and how many people am I blocking? Maybe I should, I couldn't figure a place to stand where I couldn't block somebody, sorry. But when we're talking about the human brain and language, all parts of the brain are involved. Your front lobe, your temporal lobe, your parietal lobe at the back, the occipital lobe at the very back. The limbic system is buried deep in the center. That's usually where you have trouble initially with dementia, and your motor and sensory cortex. So all of those areas need to be working well and working together in order to have good communication. So I'm just going to take you very, very quickly through the brain lobes and what happens when it comes to communication. Your temporal lobe at the side is really quite responsible for language. Think of it as the language lobe. It houses your verbal and your visual memories. And so when you want to learn something new or you're trying to remember something, and that area is damaged, you have a lot of problems. Deep in your central limbic system is the hippocampus, and that's where all your memories are stored, but they have to be processed there. So they have to be processed through the hippocampus to go into the storage area. And it gets damaged, you have troubles. The parietal lobe at the back, my goodness, doesn't it process language, speech, writing, and reading? Helps us use our words correctly, know the right word, the right order that we're going to put it in. The front lobe is all about our language, our planning, our organizational abilities, and the ability to learn new things. So if your front lobe, the CEO of your brain, isn't working, you're going to have a lot of trouble with communication. And the occipital lobe, right at the back, is all about the visual processing. So sometimes we think, well, if we can't communicate with somebody, they can't hear us, we'll write it down. Well, if your occipital lobe isn't working, it's not going to work. Oh, they can't hear us and they don't read, I'll do charades. If they don't visually, or if they aren't able to process that information, again, they're a little bit in trouble. And this helps us, our occipital lobe really helps us navigate in our environment. It helps us to see and controls depth perception and color acuity. It helps us make patterns out of things. And I know myself, sometimes I communicate by pattern more than by word. I don't know if anybody's cheated like this, but I was assigned to read a Russian novel once. And Russian novels have really long names. Really long names. And for me, hard to say, kind of challenging, a little boring. I would simply recognize it. I never did learn how to pronounce it. Oh, this starts TC, I know who that guy is. TC, and on we go. Didn't even finish reading the rest of the word. So that's a little cheat that we often do. We understand the world by patterns. If you play cards, often you don't do the count, you just recognize the pattern. So if your patterns don't work, it's very hard for you to process. So obviously we communicate verbally through words, what we say and how we say it, but really it's the nonverbal, it's the body language. And I think that's a pretty common knowledge that we communicate much more with our nonverbal than our verbal. And body language can include a lot of things. What's kind of disappointing for me, as I stand here and talk to you, is that words only account for 7% of our communication. So I'm putting a lot of energy into these words, and it's only going to count for 7% of what you get today. My voice, my tone of voice, is about 38%. But the other 55, so more than half our communication, is nonverbal. And this is the key. The nonverbal communication is truly the key to communicating when people have a dementia. It's pretty useful other times, but it's truly the key. So there's all sorts of pieces that are part of body language. It's certainly our facial expression. It's how much eye contact we make, for how long, from what position, how far away am I from somebody when I talk to them, do I touch them, how do I touch them, your voice, pitch, tone, visceral, my posture, my gestures, my appearance. It's been said that you can't not communicate. Everything about you communicates something. What you wear, how you wear it, how you do your hair, the earrings you have on, everything. Even if you're not talking or gesturing or doing anything, it's communicating. We can't not communicate. And so whatever we do, we need to start being aware of it because it's sending a message. So the art of nonverbal communication. The trick of it is that often people don't know what their body talk reveals about them. We kind of ignore our own body talk. And it's pretty hard to fake nonverbal communication. Your nonverbal, it trumps your verbal. It's going to come through. It's going to be clear. The words that you say, they tell you what somebody consciously wants you to know. But it's the nonverbal, it's what we do or how we emanate that truly communicates to the other person. So I've said in the other lectures, and I'm not trying to bore you, but it bears repeating because it's important, that everybody's journey with dementia is unique. Everybody has their own individual journey. When you've met one person with dementia, you've met one person with one type of dementia. But there are some commonalities and basics, and let's look at that a little bit. Now, the trick about communication is that it's not consistent. It varies from person to person. It certainly varies from one time to the next. Are people having a good day or a bad day? Are people well or not well within the context of their disease? The person's mood, if they've been up all night, if they're harboring a cold, if they got water in their ears in the shower and you don't know and they can't tell you and they're not even hearing you well. Whatever's going on, there can be a lot of variables. So we can't assume that if we communicate this way, this hour, that that's exactly going to work the next time. So we have to be kind of on alert to make sure our communication is truly going through for folks. When people have dementia, there are some common challenges in communication. They certainly include not being able to make themselves understood, so they have trouble expressing themselves, or not understanding what other people are saying to them, or they don't understand what's expected. They know you're saying something and they know you want them to do something, and they might even mirror the words back to you. You say it and they say it right back to you, but they don't take the action. So they don't understand what you want them to do. Have any of you ever experienced the test called the mini-mental, short for it's the MNSE? In that test, it's hopefully not used very much anymore. The MOCA is a much better test. But in the mini-mental, there's a test question where on a piece of paper are written the words quite clearly, "Close your eyes." And you hand it to the person being tested and you say to them, "Please read this and do what it says." How many people being tested do you think are able to read the words but then know enough to sit there and shut their eyes? Close your eyes. Yep, close your eyes. Yep, big smiles, read it, happy. Anybody close their eyes? Not when they're after a certain level into their dementia. So the words are there, the comprehension is missing, or I know you want me to do something and I'm all eager for you, but I don't know what you want me to do. So I'm going to take you through the stages. We talked a little bit about early, middle, late in the first or the second session. So in the early stage, people really struggle with word finding. It's quite a challenge to find nouns. Everything becomes a thing. So the glasses on the table, the fruit on the table, the drink on the table, the papers on the table, a thing. I need the thing. Could you hand me the thing? I need the thing. Could you please give me the thing? I really want the thing. I need the thing. And you're left going, and that was not an exaggeration. You're left trying to figure out what thing. Then you hand them the wrong thing, and it's like, no, I don't want that. Very frustrating for both sides of the equation. Difficulty with abstract thinking. So common examples of abstract thinking: numbers, understanding and manipulating numbers, concepts like birthdays or anniversaries. Those are very abstract concepts. Difficulty interpreting meanings. People become quite literal in their thought process. And it's very challenging to interpret hidden meaning. So maybe you want somebody to put a sweater on, but you say something like, it's really chilly in here. I don't think it's so healthy. It's pretty cold in here. Anybody else might pick up, it's cold, I should do something about the cold. I either turn up the heat or put on a sweater. Somebody with dementia is not going to make the leap from, it's cold in here, I should wear something warmer. If you want somebody with dementia to put a sweater on, you say, here, would you like your red sweater or your blue sweater? Give them the choice, but let them know exactly what you want. Classic examples out of the day program here at St. Joe's. The physical structure is set up so that there is a I'm thinking of the old day program, there was a large room where they had a dining area and then a separate room. You had to go through a doorway, regular doorway, into a separate room for a lounge. And this particular gentleman at the end of lunch wanted to know what to do with his dishes. And one of the young girls said to him, "Oh, just toss it in the sink." Okay, you see it coming. You can hear the crash of the cup. Same thing. Well, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? Go in the other room and put your feet up. We interpret that. That's go sit and relax. When you walk in the other room, what did she find? I can't do it because I'm not superhuman, but he's sitting in a chair, both feet up, no footstool, no ottoman, no leg rest. Very literal, very concrete. So say what you mean. Don't assume that people are going to extrapolate. They can't extrapolate information the same way from a general statement. Difficulty detecting humor or sarcasm. People who have dementia often retain a sense of humor. They could probably, there's a classic example in the Oliver Sacks book, a very famous neurologist who wrote The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat. You know that book? Well, there's a classic example in there where for some reason, I can't remember why, but the volume was off on the television in a nursing home, and they were playing a I Love Lucy rerun. And the people with dementia all laughed at all the right places because they didn't need the words. They still got the jokes. What people don't get are jokes that rely on puns, where you have to have two interpretations of a word, so they don't get puns, and they usually lose sarcasm. So those kind of jokes, not so funny for folks with dementia. Difficulty understanding conversations for a couple of reasons. One being, we usually talk too fast. As soon as somebody's done, somebody else is talking. And if you're anything like my family, there's more than one conversation going on at once. It's a rare occasion where people really do wait for the other person. There's a lot of interrupting that happens or talking over that happens. So people with dementia have a terrible time at cocktail hour. Multiple conversations, lots going on, can't handle that. But they usually retain their social skills. They have pretty intact social skills for a very, very long time. So they put on a smile, and they'll do a lot of nodding and yesing, maybe not appropriately, but they'll do a lot of nodding and yesing. And when you meet somebody with dementia, you put your hand out, good. They're going to shake hands with you. Hi.